Hey, welcome back. So, guys, as part of this session, let us study more about this particular asynchronous. What is this promise? What is this async? And what is this await? All these concepts, let us see with a simple example. So, consider, guys, what exactly this asynchronous means. The first and a foremost thing that we need to consider here is asynchronous means a process executes independently on another process. Okay, there is no dependency between the processes. In such cases, we can use an asynchronous. So consider your situation. So here is your program, which is launching the app here, and which is trying to check the visibility of an element, and it's trying to interact with the element. If the detox, I can say if the just, as internally it's just is a unit testing framework that it is executing, right? If the just is executing all these commands in an asynchronous way, so first it will launch and it will immediately it will check the visibility, immediately it will check the tab. So the app itself is not launched. How it will check the visibility, how it will check the tab operations. So asynchronous way execution is not possible here. So definitely one action should complete and then the next action should be performed, right? When we have a code that runs asynchronously, just needs to know before moving to your next line. Okay, so this is the code that runs asynchronously. Before going to the next line, we need to let just know that this line is completed or not. That will be handled with a promise. Ideally, a promise is the one that returns whether that action is successfully performed or an action was doesn't perform successfully. It returns a success or a failure result as a outcome of a particular promise. Okay, in order to support this particular promise, we need to use a async and as well as an await. So consider this particular launch. Okay, whenever you mouse over on this particular launch, in this line, see here, there is a promise. So let me highlight somewhere here. You are able to see the promise. So here, launch, let me mouse over on the launch. See in the highlighted area, the promise is showing. The launch app is the detox method that it is returning a promise. So which means your just needs to wait until it got a action got a completed, which we are using an await here. Okay, so the ultimate point that we need to consider here is whenever you are using any kind of a commands here, it's mandatory for us to use both the await and as well as an async. Okay, another most important thing that we are considering or we are doing with this particular await here is whatever the asynchronous uh, outcome is there, we are converting into a synchronous one. So definitely you need to add an async to your logic, to your function. Okay, so and another most important thing that we need to consider, Surendra, do we need to add await for each and everything? So the point here is await needs to be added for the commands which are returning promise as a response. So we have seen a launch, basically it does has a promise. That's the reason we used an await. The similar way for each and every command which has returning as a promise, we need to use an await. If the command is not returning any promise, you no need to use any await there. Finally, in order to execute your program step by step, or in order to execute your program in a synchronized way, we need to use both async and as well as an await. So here, async should be defined here with respect to the test line, and await should be added for every line in your program. Okay, perfect. With this note, we understood about all the just syntaxes. We understood about await and an async. The next key thing that we need to know is how exactly we are gonna interact with the UI elements. Let us study that one as part of our next session. Thank you. Bye bye.